So ever since the debut of the SNL 50th anniversary that did indeed include Tom Hanks portraying a Trump supporter in that comedy bit that truly backfired on SNL, on NBC, and especially Tom Hanks, to the point that he had to disable his comments on Instagram. I believe that they still are. If you guys would like to go ahead and check on that, let us know below in the comments. But there's a lot of things going on right now. We have NBC themselves and even Tom Hanks heading into damage control, trying to really water down the whole backlash, the entire situation, and it's working to no avail. Nothing's really going on at all that's going to reverse everything that they did on SNL's 50th anniversary, where they really, offended well over 80 million people throughout the United States. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So one thing about Tom Hanks right now is that yes, we know that he is not only embarrassed, he's going into hiding, he's beginning to go into damage control mode, really trying to also blame some of his very own fans for quote-unquote going on the bandwagon. We have a lot more to talk about that. But what's interesting about this has a lot more to do with the SNL situation for the 50th anniversary that not only lost Tom Hanks millions upon millions of fans, but also SNL's viewership is now tanking, all because of what happened just some days ago. Let's get into this, shall we? Now, one thing about all of this is that we know that there's a lot of things also going on with Tom Hanks. We know that there's a lot of, deals that he's trying to pretty much, finalize when it comes to movie roles, when it comes to television roles that are actually very complex right now in 2025, especially after getting canceled over at SNL. We have a lot more to talk about that. He was supposed to do more Trump supporter skits, roughly 10 of them, throughout the remainder of 2025, and that also is no longer happening. Now, ever since the SNL 50th anniversary took place and just how much backlash they received after Tom Hanks' portrayal as a Trump supporter, NBC and SNL creator and executive producer have, of course, since canceled Tom Hanks from taking part in additional Trump supporter comedy roles, and even canceled him from appearing on other SNL skits that were going to dive into politics. Now, Tom Hanks recently delivered the following in response to not just the SNL backlash, but also taking his anger out on his own fans after losing gigs at SNL. He goes on to deliver, "I think it's important as an actor to realize that whether you are doing comedy or specifically political comedy, you are always going to get this sort of hate from the MAGA crowd that just don't seem to have a sense of humor. But what I find to be surprising is that my own followers and fans also just did not understand the comedic elements and the value where we were going for, and how we had that actually all planned out for our message to the entire world through comedy. It's rather insulting, honestly, to see that you have those that you believe in that follow you throughout the years until they want to hop on the bandwagon to criticize you over something so juvenile like a comedy bit. I will never understand it, and I may never understand it in my lifetime, but people, I think, need to lighten up when it comes to comedy, and especially political comedy. I think we really need to spread our message with the world about what MAGA is all about, and what Trumpers are like within certain regions of our beautiful country, that is the United States, that is facing such a terrible future right now under this leadership. I am beyond disappointed that my own fans, throughout my type of comedy, what we were going for, I don't think I need to really explain myself much further. This is a sketch written by very talented people at NBC, and they absolutely do not deserve the criticism that they are dealing with right now. This is nothing more than the MAGA crowd, I think, acting very thin-skinned, and respectfully, I have to say that, quite frankly, even my own followers are falling for all of the nonsense from that crowd as if we did something wrong. What we did on SNL was about exposing the culture of MAGA through comedy, and I think that they struck a nerve. Their greatest flaw in this country right now is that we are dealing with a loud minority that holds no sense of humor when tuning into programs like SNL, and that's the biggest problem right now with comedy. Now guys, let me just stop right here for 1 minute. Now, we talked about Tom Hanks really taking it on the general public a couple of days ago about his issues with how comedy is now perceived, and how basically a lot of people did view this for valid reasons, mind you, nothing to do with comedy, more or less of a personal attack, people having a lot of issues with that, obviously. We all know that this was all coming from a bad place, from SNL, from NBC, and especially from Tom Hanks for taking part in this role, in this comedy bit, that obviously is nothing more than an agenda disguised as comedy, right? We all know it and they know it, and basically Tom Hanks is literally confirming this right here, right now. He's openly making it clear that this was an agenda by SNL to kind of shoehorn a message to the general public that they do not like the MAGA crowd, that they want to expose the MAGA crowd, or that they want to spew lies about, you know, Trump supporters and MAGA as a whole. And that really just goes to show you the flaws and the terrible nature over at SNL and what they're truly all about and why they are bleeding fans as we speak. They are bleeding followers, supporters, even loyal fans over the decades. In fact, I know a lot of people, and I know a lot of people that are SNL fans that are abandoning ship right now, ever since the 50th anniversary took place with Tom Hanks and his comedy bit of portraying a Trump supporter. A lot of people did not like that. A lot of people took offense to that. And look, mind you, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. There are even Trump fans out there that found this to be very funny, and that's quite frankly okay. That's fine and all. That's welcome below in the comments. If you guys found that funny, let us know. But one thing is for certain is that it did come from a bad place. It did come from a place of shoehorning an agenda into the general public. There's no doubt about that. And basically he goes on to conclude, he goes on to say, and those that I consider were once my fans and supporters of my own are falling victim to the lies and the over-exaggeration of what we did on television. All I can say right now is that in comedy you are never going to please anybody, and cancel culture is a terrible thing. This is something that nobody deserves in show business. Nobody. I think nobody deserved that at all. I think it's about time that we all begin to call out that there are way too many hopping on the bandwagon to criticize for what we did to make so many across the country laugh. The pushback that NBC and SNL as a program received is absolutely everything wrong with this country as we speak. So again, he's going on to say that nobody deserves to be canceled at all. Whether it's, you know, getting canceled from the public or canceled quite literally when it comes to projects that you're working on. In this case, Tom Hanks was canceled by Lorne Michaels. He was canceled by NBC from doing further Trump supporter comedy bits and other political comedy bits throughout 2025. We talked about that like, what, 2 days ago? This is a very interesting development that occurred over at NBC because we are beginning to realize that this cultural shift is truly deeply impacting the media, Hollywood as we know it. You're seeing this major turnaround right now. It's acting in a very slow pace, but it's happening. More and more studios are beginning to wake up that it's not a good business model to alienate tens and tens of millions of people within the United States, and also across the entire globe. What's interesting here again, Tom Hanks really playing the victim card, really even calling out his own fans for quote-unquote hopping on the bandwagon, for criticizing his version of comedy and his way of mocking Trump supporters or whatever you want to call it. And this is just ludicrous, so to speak, coming from Tom Hanks. But overall, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.